Neptune is a planet that asks us to dissolve our attachments in order to transcend. It is moving into the sign of Aries in late January, bringing romantic idealism, a touch of glamour, spiritual warriorship, dreaminess, and charitable feelings to the Aries part of your chart. But it could be hard to see as Neptune is ephemeral, mystical, and confusing. It's tricky to talk about Neptune, but we're going to do it in this video with an all signs breakdown so that you know what to expect with Neptune in the Aries part of your chart over the next 14 years. Hello everyone, my name is Fiona of sunandmooncalendar.com, and in this video we are going to talk about that mystical planet Neptune. I am based in New Zealand, but this astrology applies to the whole world. It's happening for everyone on the 26th or 27th of January that Neptune moves into Aries. We're going to talk about the meaning of Neptune in astrology, what it represents and what it represents in your life, how it plays out in your life. We're going to talk about the dates of Neptune in the different signs, what Neptune has been like in the sign of Pisces, what Neptune will be like in the sign of Aries as far as we can predict, because none of us were alive the last time that it occurred, unless as part of a past life. Okay, so just to introduce myself again, I do Western tropical astrology. I do a weekly video that comes out on Saturday about the transits over the week, and then on Sunday a focus video. And I make calendars like this one for Aotearoa, New Zealand, and for Australia. This is last year's Australian calendar. I don't have a copy of this year's yet, but it's coming in the mail from Australia, and they have New Zealand and Australian birds and animals and times. But like I said, this astrology is for the whole world. So let's get into it now. Okay, so here we go, January 2026, Neptune moving from Pisces into Aries. It has happened before in our lives because it happened last year. Neptune went into Aries for a little while, and then it moved back into Pisces. But this time it's for good. It's not going to go back into the sign of Pisces in our lifetimes. All right, so in this video we'll talk about the meaning and the symbology of Neptune in astrology, the dates involved, Neptune in Pisces, what that's been like, Neptune in Aries, and then do an all signs breakdown so that you know what part of your chart and your life this will be playing out in. Okay, all right, this is what I said in the calendar to describe this momentous moment. So it happens on the 27th of January in New Zealand. Just to summarize, after 14 years of Pisces, the planet of imagination, creativity, mysticism, water, and connection to eternity, moves into Aries, sign of initiation, action, and warriorship, and that is until 2039. Okay. All right, so first of all, what does the planet Neptune represent in astrology? Okay, Neptune is the god of the sea, the Roman god of the sea. So Neptune represents water and the flow of water, and also the dreaminess and the otherworldliness of the ocean and being under the water. It is like the tide. So Neptune can just in a gradual, gentle way even bring gifts into your life, and then as the tide goes out it can take the gifts away, and in that way we have the dissolving or the dissolution energy of Neptune. It can be about endings and very much about letting things go. All right, the way that the sea will dissolve things. Okay, and also it's this wonderful, wonderful connecting energy, connecting us to the all that is of the universe. It helps us to feel and understand that we are at one with everything, with the all, the collective, everything that exists, that we are part of that, all our atoms, and with the letting go, like when we die, when we move on and our body dies, all our cells and atoms will become part of everything that is, okay? Neptune is also about idealism, romanticization. It's we see things in a more spiritual way, and we can get carried away with the romance of that and the ideals of that. Because we see everything in the all that is with Neptune, it's very much about unconditional love and accepting everything. And with that, it can bring about charitable behaviors, great empathy and compassion. And in that way, it represents compassionate projects, and where you are championing or supporting disadvantaged people or plants or animals that cannot be looking after themselves in the same way. Neptune will want to rescue and support and carry out charitable acts, all right? And Neptune is famous. The downside of Neptune is being famous for confusion, deception, not seeing things the way that they really are, having rose-colored glasses. Actually, the colors of Neptune are sort of purpley blues, and I was trying to find something purple or blue to wear, and I couldn't find anything, so you got green. But anyway, purpley blue, romantic, the rosy glow, seeing things in a slightly glamorous way, romanticized, idealized. And this is why Neptune governs photography and the kind of art where the art is enhanced and it has beautiful flowing colors. So all that's happening with new technology that's making photos really beautified and the colors more vivid and all of that, that's a Neptunian influence. All right, so the downside of Neptune is this confusion and illusion that it can cause, and also it can be associated with escapism, too much escapism, mental illness, and addiction. All right, okay, and on a practical, mundane level, also to do with water, gas, and toxins. All right, but as well as the spiritual connection, a really positive side of Neptune is its visionary potential, the imagination, the creativity involved, the art and music and dance, film and stories, visualizing dreams. It's so wonderful in that way. All right. The higher purpose of Neptune is to make us guide us towards accepting endings and encouraging detachment, letting go of attachments, in order that we can transcend and understand that we are part of the everything that there is. And that can be hard in a life that we live that is so based on the material plane and the earthly plane. All right, so I have talked enough. You can see the words on the screen and have a good understanding there of what Neptune represents in astrology. Okay, so let's go through some of the dates involved with this transition. All right, and first of all, looking at the dates that Neptune was in the signs. All right, so the last time Neptune was in Aries was in the late 1800s, from 1861 to 1875. So none of us was alive then, and we haven't experienced that in this lifetime. All right, and then I've just gone back to what some of our elders might have experienced with Neptune in Virgo and then Neptune in Libra, and I came into being as a Neptune in Scorpio generation, and then Neptune has gone through Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and most of us, that's what we would have experienced. All right, we've lived through those. The earlier ones, it's less likely that you've lived long enough to have experienced those. And we are all now moving into Neptune in Aries. From 2025 it started, and then it went back to Pisces, and now it's going to be in Aries for the next 14 years until 2039. All right. Neptune in Pisces was from 2011 until March 2025, and then again from October until January. And then it's about to move into Aries. So we had a little taste of that last year from March to October. And then from the 26th, 27th of January, boom, into Aries, except Neptune's not a really boom planet. It's like this gradual flow. And we might not even notice anything for such a long time, which always happens with the slow-moving planets, that the changes that they bring about are very gradual and subtle and hard to feel until we look back, but especially so with Neptune because it is subtle and ephemeral. Okay. All right. And then Monday the 26th, if you are in the Northern Hemisphere, USA and Britain, Neptune will move into Aries, and on Tuesday 27th, Australia and New Zealand. No more going back into Pisces now. Okay, so first of all, we're just going to go over and review what Neptune has been like in the sign of Pisces. Well, Neptune has been very happy in Pisces since 2011 for the last 14 years because Neptune is the modern ruler of Pisces. They really go together. There's so much that they have in common, and you can see in the descriptions there. So Neptune is about water, mystique, imagination, spiritual connection, compassion, escapism, and retreat. Pisces is also about those things. It's dreamy, mystical, compassionate, into spiritual connection, imaginative and intuitive. These line up. They're the same. They're kind of the same, all right? So under Neptune and Pisces, we've had in the world more talk and discussion and development of spiritual connection, alternative healing, more storytelling. What about all that Netflix and streaming and video content that we all want to see now? More fantasy, more imagination, more escapism, esoteric topics and mysticism, higher drug use, the gentrification of drug use and the spread of it, especially North America. There's a really, really obvious issues with that there. More compassion and charity, empathy, greater understanding of mental health needs, thank goodness. More counseling, more mindfulness and intuition, and more understanding of the need for these, the importance of them. So that has developed with Neptune and Pisces. More music, more arts. Okay, all right, let's move on. Neptune in Aries. What can we expect? All right, so Aries and Neptune, they don't match in the same way that Neptune and Pisces do. Neptune, with its mysticalness, its water, its flow, it's wanting to let go of attachment. Aries is about getting what you want, taking initiative, being a driving force, desire. Neptune's about letting go of those. So how do we combine those? Aries is independent. It's about taking an initiative, entrepreneurship, gut instinct, being a fighter, a winner, energetic, a pioneer, going for what you want. All right? And something they have in common, I would say, is instinctual feelings. So Neptune, it's more on the sort of intuition side and having these quiet feelings that bubble from within. Aries has the gut instinct where the strong feelings bubble up from within, but they do have that in common, that ability to connect with maybe what's not completely rational and obvious in the material world, which is great. All right. If we combine those energies, one thing that a lot of astrologers are talking about with Neptune and Aries is spiritual warriorship. Aries is the warrior, Neptune is the spirituality. So that might it might come out as being very vehement and strong-minded about religious causes or spiritual awakening, and being really determined and taking initiative with that. This could be positive, taking action towards spiritual causes. It can be negative, like fighting and being too attached to a belief system. All right. Fighting for charitable causes. This could be a wonderful expression of Neptune and Aries, being willing to fight for and champion disadvantaged people, the earth, the plants, the animals, people or things that are dispossessed, cannot speak up for themselves. All right. Let's see that. Going for supporting and fighting, hopefully in positive ways, for those that cannot protect themselves. All right. Celebration of heroism, admiring the pioneer, the warrior, and glamorizing those kind of roles. And this could be positive, where we can be talking about the hero's journey in our own lives and honoring that. It could be negative, where we are really idealizing fighting and going to war. Okay. And as I've written at the bottom there, romanticizing the pioneer, the entrepreneur, the fighter. This could be really wonderful to, like I said, to celebrate the ways that we do those roles and play out those roles in our lives and in the world. And the negative side could be over focus on that. And oh gosh, I hope we're not going to, this is just a little thing, I hope we're not going to go back to all those action movies with the hero guy and there's like one woman as all these guys and there's lots of fighting that I get so bored of, the fight scenes. Yeah, I hope we're not going to have a return to all those movies, but probably we are. That would be a small way that could be playing out, and hopefully not in terms of more war and the glamorization of it. Okay, so Neptune and Aries, the pros: spiritual warriorship, celebration of heroism, romanticizing the pioneer, the entrepreneur, fighting for the underdog. The cons: over idealizing could lead to hot-headedness, unnecessary aggression, toxic masculinity, celebration of fighting. So hopefully let's try and keep those down. So I'm going to do an all signs breakdown where sign by sign, starting from Aries, we talk about what Neptune and Aries could mean in your life over the next 14 years. We'll be looking at, for whatever part of your life or your chart this is playing out, that there would be more creativity, more art, more connection with spirits, more intuition, more imagination, more dreams and more visualization. There could be, on the downside, more confusion, more tendency to be deceived or deluded, to overdo escapism. And if we're looking for the higher meaning and purpose of Neptune and that part of our chart over our lives, we will be trying to note what is dissolving and what we need to become less attached to in our lives, so that we can achieve a measure of transcendence, so that we're understanding that in the end our earthly lives matter little compared to the universe as a whole and all that is, and the connection with all things. All right. But of course, we still have to live with earthly reality. And one of the big things that's happening with Neptune in Pisces and Aries coming up at the end of February is the Saturn-Neptune conjunction. This is an incredibly rare aspect because, okay, so they come into conjunction every 40 years or so. But it's incredibly rare that they would be at 0 degrees of Aries. So Saturn is going to help whatever's becoming created in that Aries part of your chart with the mystical, the spiritual, the charitable, the imaginative, the artistic, that it can have some real legs, be grounded in reality, and take form and structure in the material world. So I'll be talking more about that later, but that is a big part of Neptune's journey through Aries. But it will kind of, Saturn will be co-present in Aries for the next 2 to 3 years. And after that, it will just be Neptune. So what I'm talking about in the All Signs breakdown is more about that longer 14-year transit of Neptune through that part of your chart. If you are Aries, Sun, Moon, or Rising, Neptune is going to be going through your first house. Everything to do with you, Aries. You are the go-getters of the world, the entrepreneurs, the ones that take action, who say it like it is, who don't hold back, who don't get so nervous. You're direct and you take initiative. And these aspects of you, these parts of you, these parts of your personality, well, they are going to be glamorized, romanticized, and admired by the rest of the world. So that's really cool. So over the next 14 years, you are likely to be more creative, dreamy, spiritual, floaty, perhaps even seen as a bit glamorous. But at the same time, you might be confused about your identity. Who am I? What am I in the world? All right, confusion and maybe delusion about this. Maybe getting a little carried away with the glamour at times. You might get into championing causes for disadvantaged people, and you might get into entrepreneurial projects that are charitable, compassionate, healing, watery, to do with water, dreamy, spiritual, or artistic. Okay, so some of these transits I can talk about because I've had them, and this one I've had for the last 14 years. Neptune has been going through my first house because I'm Pisces. In that time, I've had a number of kind of reinventions of my identity and having to let go of parts of my identity and my understanding of who I am in the world. At some stage, about halfway through, I kind of came out to the world as a hippie. It was like I was a closet hippie before, and then I came out, and then in a way the tide has taken that away because I've realized, oh, I'm kind of only partly a hippie. I've done a lot more music and art. I mean, I am a Pisces, so I'm more inclined towards that anyway. A little final moment of Neptune in my first house in the last few days. I have managed to write up all the songs I've written in the last 14 years. It just happens that at the time, about 25 songs, and I feel so proud of them and to have them all written out well. And at the same time, I'm wondering if I need to let go of some of my music because I'm getting such sore wrists from playing the guitar. And maybe that is the tide taking away at least some aspects of my appreciation of music. The tide will come in and bring things. The tide will take things away about you, Aries, and your identity. But you will be growing through this, but it will be so subtle and mystical. It will be hard to see. So all the best for that. Enjoy the dreams and the visualizations and the imaginative time that you're in for. If you are Taurus, Sun, Moon, or Rising, Neptune is coming into Aries, and that is your 12th house. All right, so the 12th house, the house of your hidden world, the world of retreat and sanctuary, where you are away from the rest of life. The world, people in your life don't see you so much in the 12th house. All right, so the 12th house is the natural home of Neptune. Neptune is about that otherworldliness that the 12th house brings, about the endings that the 12th house brings, the imagination, the visualization, the connection to spiritual life, and all that is all part of the realm of the 12th house. All right, so all of that is going to be enhanced while you have Neptune going through your 12th house. You'll be more dreamy, more able to access your dreams, more creative, more artistic. But it's not like you can really be sharing this creativity and art with the world so much. There'll be a little bit more for your private life. All right, your intuition and psychic ability might be enhanced. You might be more comfortable, or life might lead you more to be away from the world. All right, and you might have more of a private fantasy and secret world. Okay, so I had Neptune going through my 12th house. That was from, I think, late 90s until 2011. Yep, that was because I'm Pisces rising. That's when Neptune was in Aquarius. I was away from the world for most of that time, raising my young children. My career was on hold. My friendships were largely on hold. And I did also more artistic things in terms of especially dancing. I did so much dancing. The dancing was building up then. I wasn't very well known for it. It was kind of private. Later on, it became more of a public thing. Yeah, those are the kinds of things that might be happening for you. Circumstances might lead you to be more away from the world and to have more opportunity, therefore, for dreaming, visioning, escapism, and developing your spiritual practice. Okay. Gemini, sun, moon, or rising. Especially Gemini rising. Neptune is moving into Aries, and that will be in your 11th house. The 11th house is about your long-term goals for life. It's about your connections with groups of people, especially large groups where you are united by a cause. And it's also about the rewards and gains that you get from your career. Okay, so you could have some losses, some gains, some gifts, and some endings, and confusion in your group connections, your career rewards, and your long-term goals. All right, you might glamorize the groups that you belong with, like get sort of romanticize them, and through that you might feel possibly weaker as an individual or less focused on yourself as an individual. Be careful of that. Don't lose your boundaries too much. All right. And you might find that there's more connection with groups and more influence in your long-term goals with artistic pursuits or spiritual connection or spiritual activities. All right, there might be some healing work or especially energetic alternative kinds of healing involved in the gains that you get from your career, or something to do with your long-term goals or your connection with groups. And certainly more idealism about social causes, because often the 11th house can be about large-scale social problems and the solutions, the innovative solutions that you might come up with. And you might see that spirituality and art and music are great solutions for many humanitarian problems during this time. So very interesting, Gemini. I hope that you enjoy that. When Neptune was in my 11th house, and this was mostly while I was kind of a teenager, I got very involved with Māori culture in New Zealand. We have the Māori people, and where I lived, I was connected with a lot of Māori people, and I did the Māori dancing kapahaka and learned all the songs, was learning the language, and I totally glamorized that world that I was in and got a bit over-identified with it. And it gave me so many gifts for my life, that connection with those kind of groups and the artistic work that I was doing in those groups. But then there was also confusion there. But mostly it was absolutely a wonderful kind of gift. And these are the sort of things that you could come across, connection with groups of people or organizations that bring wonderful gifts. Be careful about your confusion with who you are as an individual, and your boundaries is the only thing. So all the best for that, Gemini. Please like, comment, or subscribe if you like this video. If you are Cancer, Sun, Moon, or Rising, but especially Cancer Rising, Neptune is moving into the sign of Aries in late January, and it will be traveling through your 10th house of career and reputation and status in the world for the next 14 years. All right, let's have a look at that. Your career over that time might become more involved in spirituality. It might have more of a touch of glamour about it. There could be more art, music, film, or water involved, or something to do with the sea, or possibly healing, especially energetic healing. All right. You might get into championing spiritual or charitable causes through career projects, and you might be known for this because the 10th house is very much about how you are seen in the world. People might see you as being quite glamorous in the world through your career work. Take care not to get too carried away with this. And there could be confusion or vagueness about your career goals, about the legacy that you want to leave for the world. It may need some rethinking, some revising, or things will just come and go and come and go. And by the end of it, hopefully you will have more clarity after 14 years about what you want to put out to the world. What is the legacy you want to leave behind through your work and your career, and that all of that experience and mastery that you have, and what you want to be known for in terms of that work. So all the best for that, Cancer. Please like, comment, or subscribe if you like this video. If you are Leo, Sun, Moon, or Rising, but especially Leo Rising, Neptune is moving into the sign of Aries from late January 2026. That is your 9th house. It will be there for the next 14 years or so, and that is your house of travel and exploration and higher learning, the ways that you seek and pursue and explore meaning in the world, greater meaning in the world, philosophy, the meaning of life. All right, so let's have a look at that. You might be getting into even more expansive and spiritually inclined quests to understand the meaning of life, bringing the spirits and the otherworldly energies that are not on the material world into those explorations that you enjoy doing. All right, so even bigger picture thinking. So instead of traveling across the world to look at different cultures and amazing buildings and mountains and all that, and understand how the other cultures can help our lives, you might be going across there and exploring the spirituality of those cultures and reading about that and learning about that, and perhaps attending some religious ceremonies and trying to understand the meaning of that so that you can get more about how we are in the world, how we are connected energetically. Okay. You might become over idealistic about other cultures and over romanticize their spiritual practice. This would be the downside. So with Neptune, we always need to be working on our boundaries, because Neptune is just dissolving the boundaries all the time. And you also might, as part of your searching for meaning in life and your understanding of meaning and to your practice in terms of your learning and seeking of meaning in life, you might reach for spiritual practices that suit Neptune, like meditation, like doing artwork where it's very dreamy and floaty and connected with the right brain kind of artwork, more ephemeral, more watery and flowing. All right, and all of this with this purpose to try and seek meaning and understand our place in the universe, and what is the best kind of spiritual practices to be pursuing in life. That's all about the 9th house. So all the best with that, Leo. That could be a confusing time for understanding the meaning of life. You might understand the meaning of life and then, whoa, hang on, no, that doesn't make sense, and you have to change it up and rethink it or re-feel it more with Neptune. All right. You might Yeah, so I'll leave it there. So all the best for that, Leo. Please like, comment, or subscribe if you like this video. If you are Virgo, sun, moon, or rising, but especially Virgo rising, Neptune is moving into the sign of Aries for the next 14 years from late January. Aries is your 8th house, Virgo. The 8th house is about other people's money in your life, shared resources with partner or family members, inheritances, large sums of money that you don't have ready access to. It's also about deep intimacy with your partner. It's also about your underlying psychological layers, and it's also about occult practices like divination, trying to connect with the deeper psychology that's underneath. However you do that, maybe with tarot or other sort of divination. All right, okay, here we go. What could Neptune be bringing to your 8th house? All right. So with the 8th house being very much about looking, often the 8th house is very much about looking at our underlying psychological layers in the deep subconscious. Neptune can be very supportive with that because so much of that is very dreamy and mystical and otherworldly. So you could be doing really well with some shadow work, and that could be supported with meditation, compassion, unconditional love, like working on your unconditional love for yourself, for your deep psychological layers, and then through that, empathy for others and whatever's going on in their subterranean world and all those deep fears and desires that drive us. All right, so the intuitive power of Neptune and the spiritual power of Neptune and the compassion and empathy of Neptune could be helping with that a lot. But take care with your boundaries. With Neptune, we always need to be working on our boundaries. You'll be more sensitive and emotional, perhaps, and when it's involved with spiritual practice and there's, I don't know, if there's some kind of connecting with other entities, take care of your boundaries. Don't be letting in other people's energy that is not positive, and look after your own spiritual energy. Keep yourself safe there. So you might be more sensitive and emotional. And also when it comes to shared resources and large amounts of money, that could be part of your life or your partner's money. There could be a need for boundaries and also acceptance that at times there could be loss and then gains and then losses. The tide could come in and out with these things, and sometimes we'll need to be careful with our boundaries, like avoid being deluded and having illusions, and other times we will just need to accept that despite our best intentions and our careful boundaries and money management, there could be losses and money could disappear, and then gifts also could arrive. Yeah, so all the best for that, Virgo. Please like, comment, or subscribe if you like this video, and go to sunandmooncalendar.com to order your copy of the New Zealand or Australia 2026 calendar. If you are Libra, sun, moon, or rising, but especially Libra rising, Neptune is moving into Aries in late January. Aries is your 7th house, your house of relationships, partnerships, working in a one-to-one situation, any kind of interpersonal relationship with a one-to-one focus. All right, and Neptune will be there for the next 14 years, bringing more mystical quality, romance, glamorization, and confusion. So let's have a look at that. You could over idealize your partner, you could over romanticize partnership and love relationships, but on the other hand, maybe a bit of romance and idealism and glamour could be also really lovely and to be enjoyed. So take care of your boundaries, because you could be confused, you could get taken for a ride, somebody could show up in your life who wants to like get together straight away, move in straight away, get married straight away, and then you find out later that it wasn't very real, it wasn't based on strong foundations or anything. You will have also in your partnerships a stronger desire for your union or your connections, whether this is intimate partnerships or business partnerships or friendships. More desire for spiritual connection, for the connection between you to have a spiritual quality about it. And there might be more scope and time and focus on doing things in partnership to do with music and art, charitable work, giving service, especially looking at healing or alternative healings. And these could be coming up and taking place as part of your partnerships, any kind of partnership. So all the best for that, Libra. Watch your boundaries, but enjoy the gifts that come and be prepared to let go of things as things disappear, because that will happen as well. The tide will come out and the tide will come in, the tide will go out and in and out. So please like, comment or subscribe if you like this video, and go to sunandmooncalendar.com to order your 2026 calendar if you are from Australia or Aotearoa, New Zealand. If you are Scorpio, sun, moon or rising, but especially Scorpio rising, Neptune is moving into Aries in late January, and it will be in Aries for the next 14 years, and that is your 6th house. This is the house of giving service in the world, the daily work that you do in the world, your daily routines in the world, your routines for health, for organization of your life admin. All right, let's have a look at that. You are likely in your workplace and your daily work to be more idealistic or even romanticize that work that you do, to feel a great calling with that daily work that you do, and to be appreciating the service that you give to the world. So that romance of giving service. In your workplace, you might be trying to bring in more idealism, more artistic tendencies, more dreaminess, more imagination, more connection with healing and charity or compassionate work. All right, so I hope you have the opportunities to do those. Be careful not to get deluded, to have unrealistic illusions, and not for people to take you for a ride, because we can just be deluded with Neptune. All right. You might also enjoy more spirituality or spiritual practice as part of your daily routines for living. So you might bring in some prayers, you might bring in meditation, you might bring some daily music, something like that. All right. So take care of your boundaries when you give service. Don't give too much to others. Remember, look after yourself as well, and enjoy this transit. The giving service and the charitable work of Neptune is they're very good together. So that will go really well. So all the best for that, Scorpio. Please like, comment or subscribe if you like this video, and go to sunandmooncalendar.com to order your copy of the 2026 calendar for Australia or Aotearoa, New Zealand. If you are Sagittarius, sun, moon or rising, but especially Sagittarius rising, Neptune is moving into the sign of Aries in late January. That will be there for 14 years in your 5th house. The 5th house is about romance. It's about where you are playful and what you love to do from the heart, your hobbies. It's also about your children, these things that we create from our heart. All right. So Aries is another fire sign. Like you, Sagittarius, I think you will enjoy this, the fieriness of it, and then the spiritual feelings of it, because you understand about spirituality and spiritual practice. You like to find the meaning of life, and Neptune understands that. All right, so let's have a look. So romance and dating, even more romantic, even more glamorous even. Be careful not to over idealize. Be careful not to be completely taken in by false promise or over idealism. All right. Spiritual playfulness or playfulness with spirituality. You might get into exploring spiritual themes and practices and find that actually you can play with it, be really playful. An example is like sometimes when you hang out with people who are alternative and they enjoy spirituality, they like the kinds of games that are really inclusive and everyone wins. Things like circus games, like my friend does silks, aerial silks, and it's like a game. She just plays on it and then someone else has a turn and she teaches them. It's very inclusive. Acro yoga, things like that. All right. Your children might get into spirituality. They might get into meditation. They might get into art. All right. So more artistic or even religious pursuits for your children, and hopefully they don't get too carried away, where that they lose their boundaries and their good sense, because that can be a tendency with Neptune. You might get into creative projects, even entrepreneurial projects that are more spiritual, artistic, charitable, supporting the underdog, or to do with water. All right. And just mainly the thing is to watch your boundaries in romance, watch your boundaries with your children, and it might be that you need to do some letting go, because Neptune will bring gifts along, and then it asks us to also detach and let go of things. So it might be you have to let go of some romance, you might have to let go of some creative projects. There might be aspects of your relationship with your children that you need to let go of in a way that just you almost don't know that it happens. It's misty and dissolving. But in the end, it's asking us to find more transcendence through that. So all the best for that. I think mostly you will enjoy this transit if you don't get too confused. So all the best, Sagittarius. Please like, comment, or subscribe if you like this video, and go to sunandmooncalendar.com to order your 2026 copy of the calendar for Australia or for Aotearoa, New Zealand. If you are Capricorn, Sun, Moon, or Rising, but especially Capricorn Rising, Neptune is moving into Aries in late January, and it will be there for 14 years. That is in your 4th house. The 4th house is your house of home and family, your family of origin, properties that you own, the house you live in, the people you live with, your ancestry. Okay, so let's have a look at that. While Neptune is in your 4th house, you might idealize, romanticize your home. You might overly romanticize your family and have this great sense of beauty and love and patriotism for your roots, your ancestry, your nation. All right. Feel very loyal and spiritually connected to these. So it's a great, this is a great transit for patriotism, and hopefully that expresses in a positive way and not in a fighting way. All right. You might get romantic about places. Avoid overcapitalizing on your home or overspending if you're buying or renting a new place. There could be deception or confusion about your home or in your home or about your family of origin. The tide might come in and bring gifts to do with home and family, and the tide might go out and dissolve things or just quietly allow things to float away, and you might not even realize till later. On a more surface level, there might be more flowing artwork around your home, or more to do with water around your home, and more spiritual practice taking place, or creative things or artistic pursuits taking place in your home. Be careful of deception and confusion overall, but enjoy this transit, Capricorn. So all the best. And please like, comment, or subscribe if you like this video, and go to sunandmooncalendar.com to order your copy of the 2026 calendar, Sun and Moon calendar for Australia or for Aotearoa, New Zealand. If you are Aquarius, sun, moon, or rising, but especially Aquarius rising, Neptune is moving into Aries in late January. This is your third house. It will be there for 14 years. Your third house is about your neighborhood and community. It's about your brothers and sisters and other relations, not so much your mum and dad or your kids. And it's about communication and social media, social networking of any kind, going around your neighborhood like a social butterfly, chit chat and talking. And Aquarius, you are good at talking, and you're good at talking to people. You maybe find it more challenging on that interpersonal level, but you're good at chatting with people, so you'll enjoy that. You might be talking more about spiritual topics and artistic topics as you go about your neighborhood. The third house is also about learning, and so schools and workshops and courses in your community. All right, so let's have a look at this. Neptune in the third house might help you idealize or even romanticize your community, your neighborhood, your sense of community. You might get very loved up about your community. And Aquarius, you love community anyway, so that would be cool. Also your extended family, your siblings, your brothers and sisters might get a little bit confused or away with the fairies, deluded in some way. You might get more involved in your neighborhood in artistic or spiritual pursuits, like going to a local meditation group or joining an art group, an art history group or something like that. And your thinking and talk, which is always big picture and always creative, Aquarius, it might get, yes, even more creative and spiritual on spiritual topics. And it might also get more intuitive, even more big picture, more imaginative, and even more involved in, because you love social causes, Aquarius. And you might get even more into that in ways that are really quite compassionate and charitable, and thinking about the underdog. Take care not to over-romanticize your neighborhoods, to be deceived in some way, not to be over romantic about schools and learning in your neighborhood, all right? Or over romanticize, over idealize anything about your siblings or other relations. But mostly I think you'll enjoy this, Aquarius. All the best. Please like, comment or subscribe if you like this video, and go to sunandmooncalendar.com to order your copy of the 2026 Sun and Moon Calendar for Australia or for Aotearoa, New Zealand. Pisces, Sun, Moon or Rising, Neptune in Aries. I am one of you. Neptune is moving into Aries in late January, and it will be there for 14 years. We had a taste of it last year, but now it's there for goods. And that is our second house of finances, resources, our earnings, our sense of self-worth. So we will be getting more romantic and more romantically inclined about our finances. We may be losing money, we may be gaining money, and we might be earning our money more through artistic, creative, or spiritual, or healing, or charitable pursuits. So, let's have a look at that. All right. So we might get more visionary ideas about how to earn money, but we could be confused and unrealistic at the same time. So take care of our boundaries. We need to try and be organized. Oh my gosh. We might have more earnings from art or creative projects, from healing, from working with the sea or with water. And our material security and sense of security may well be lacking during this time. We might over romanticize the trust in the universe, but also the universe might take away some of that material security, especially with Saturn going through there earlier in the next 2 or 3 years. That might dissolve, and it is calling us to transcend so that we have more trust, more faith in the way that the universe will just take care of everything anyway. But then we can't get too much like that as well. We can't be over reliant on everything will be all right. We also need to stay grounded in reality as we go. Ha! All right, so I'm looking forward to the middle one there, the earnings from art and music and healing and creative projects. So hopefully that one goes well. So all the best for it, Pisces, and please like, comment or subscribe if you like this video, and go to sunandmooncalendar.com to order your copy of the Aotearoa or the Australia 2026 Sun and Moon Calendar. There we go, everyone. That is my video about Neptune moving into the sign of Aries over the next 14 years. In the next couple of weeks, the next month or so, I'll be talking about the Saturn-Neptune conjunction at 0 degrees of Aries that we're coming up to. That's a really big one. It will help us be more grounded. And then Saturn will be co-present in the sign of Aries with Neptune for the next 2 or 3 years. So that's a big deal. More about that later. So in this video, we talked about the meaning of Neptune in astrology, the dates of the transits with Neptune in the signs and the sign of Aries, and then we did a sign by sign breakdown. So I hope it was helpful. Please like this video and write something in the comments, perhaps your review of how Neptune has been in Pisces for you over the last 14 years. That would be interesting. And the Sun and Moon calendar for Australia or for New Zealand, it is still available. That's for 2026. It is packed with information with animals and birds for New Zealand, for the New Zealand calendar, for Australia, for the Australian calendar, and lunar months. There's so much in it. Anyway, all the best for Neptune and Aries over the next 14 years. Okay, bye for now.